1. Hello and welcome to a special on location edition of Full Follow. Today we are talking boat racing. So, without further ado, please welcome to Full Follow, Mr. Bill Allen.
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. So, first of all, Bill Allen and I go way back. Okay, Bill.
When you was born.
Yeah, when I was born.
Yeah.
I can't believe it took us all these years to spend some time together. Had to start a program to get some time with you, but for starters, tell the viewers where the boat is now.
Well, I'd like to talk about you a little bit.
Yeah.
I used to keep up with you in the Soapbox Derby. This guy's a world champion soapbox derby racer. Don't let him fool you. But our boat is down at the Lake of the Ozarks right now. After our accident last year in Key West, we re-rigged the boat. Got it put back together. Had a heck of a group of guys working on it. You know, our pit crew, whatnot. You know, and got it put back together, and it's down there now, and we're just on the beginning stages of testing. So.
Will the boat stay down there for your first race?
Actually, funny story is I was changed shirt there. We just got a text that Cocoa Beach was our first boat race in August, and they just canceled it. And I think with the epidemic that's going on, especially in Florida, I think that's why they canceled it. So it looks to me like the 1st of September will possibly be our first race if we can get that one in.
So, about how long does it take you to put the boat in the water, get everything ready and raring to go? Because behind us, if you don't mind, talk to the viewers about what you were telling us before we started the interview.
So basically, what it consists of, I guess, a little different than the dirt car races. You know, back when we was racing the dirt cars, we would race 5 to 6, 7 nights a week, you know, during the county fairs and whatnot. In the boat racing, it takes us 2 days or whatever to get down to Florida, a day and a half. We set up our whole camp with all of our, our pits, I guess you'd say. And then basically after that, we'll test on Saturday usually, which would be like hot laps to you and me, Mm-hmm. We test on Saturday. Saturday night, there's always a big street party at all the events. We run the boat and the hauler through the street party. And then Sunday morning, bright and early, we do a physical and we start racing. We have one race on Sunday. So, and then, after that, the awards is Sunday night and usually a day and a half to get home.
So what would you say between regular racing and boat racing are the most challenging things?
The challenging thing, obviously the dirt cars, is you have a lot of cars side to side, door to door, and dusty, whatnot. It could be a dry slick racetrack. Opposed to the boats, the track changes all the time. There's never one lap you think you got a good lap in, and then the next lap you might hit one and get the wind knocked out of you, or chip your teeth, or whatever the case might be. So it's just they're both very, very challenging. I want to take nothing away from either one of them. The boat racing is very unpredictable, per se.
Who is your partner currently in boat racing?
Currently, I throttle the boat. We have a 32-foot Doug Wright catamaran. I throttle the boat, and Larry Pinniger, which you're familiar with him with the sprint cars and the stock cars, he steers the boat. So we had a pretty good year last year up until the accident in Key West, but everything's back together, and we was gearing up for a big year this year. So hopefully we get some races in. If we don't, we're going to be ready for the following year.
Yeah. So usually when you do get races in, how long does it take to put the boat in, get the boat prepared, and make sure everything's going well?
Basically, like I say, we test on the Saturday. Sunday morning, we're usually the third flight, I guess you'd say, the third class to go in. So what that consists of is we'll get lined up with the semis, and then we get over to the crane. The crane will pick up, usually there's 2 cranes, they'll pick the boats up and put the boats in the water. At that time, they'll usually get a weight. You know, for instance, on the race cars, after the race, we go across the scale with the race car.
Oh.
After the boat races, the drivers get out of the boat, we drain the water out of it. If there's any water in the bilge, we drain the water, and then they weigh the boat with the crane. We have a minimum weight that we have to weigh, and if you're under that minimum weight, obviously, you're disqualified just as you would be at the race cars.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of similarity there, so.
Yeah, so is there a good spectator area if people want to go and watch?
It's an awesome deal. Funny you asked. The deal with the boat racing is it's very hard for them to collect any money. So the beaches are open to the public. So, for instance, Cocoa Beach is our first one. We'll pull out on the race course and we do a parade lap with a pace boat. The spectator field goes for miles and miles and miles, and it's as far as you can see, just packed in people. There's no way like Knoxville or the Iowa State Fairgrounds, if we were still racing Iowa State Fairgrounds, but no way that, or Boone, Iowa, you know, you pay for a ticket to get in.
Yeah.
At boat racing, it's free. So it's a huge spectator sport. The closest race for us in Midwest would be the Lake of the Ozarks. That got canceled, of course, and so did Michigan City, Indiana. That's a huge venue for family to go watch.
But you'll still go down to the lake and test.
We will. We are still a little bit behind the 8 ball on the setup of the boat because we changed some stuff. So the deck is different now and whatnot. So
For you and your guy because of safety.
correct. We changed some stuff on safety. Absolutely. So
Is there anything illegal on the boat as far as, let's say, is there anything safety-wise you have to have in there, otherwise it's at your discretion?
absolutely. They have it's a very safety sport. We have our oxygen in the boat for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
We have to wear a helmet. Obviously, you can wear a neck brace if you want. You can wear a mouthpiece for your teeth. You can wear gloves if you want. That's not mandatory. And also a Hans device is not mandatory, which personally myself, I will be wearing a Hans device after last year's accident. So
Yeah, probably a wide thing. I'm surprised because with all the deaths, I'm sure you watch NASCAR and with all the hoopla behind Ryan Newman, I'm surprised Hans devices aren't required in all racing sports. I don't care if
Absolutely.
it's watercraft or non-watercraft. I mean, honestly, who would you say is your biggest threat? I mean, like, what team is your biggest threat on a year-to-year?
biggest threat.
Yeah.
That's funny you asked. Our class is so competitive. You know, if there's 14 to 22 boats at some races, if there's 22 boats at that race, honestly, there's probably 22 boats that could win that race. Usually it comes to the best team going to win that day. You're set up and you're jiving with you and the driver, throttle man, whatever the case might be, and your propeller, you know, that's a big deal. It'd be like a gear on a race car. If you pick the right gear, you got the right setup and everything goes your way, and you know, Mother Nature's in your way that day, and Lady Luck's on your side, you know, chances are you got a shot at winning it. But to answer your question usually is about every boat that's there can win that thing. You know, no matter if you have a budget that's this high or that high, if you got a good strong piece that'll take the waves and not break, you have a chance of winning.
So, what would you say are very key? Two more questions and then we'll wrap up here. But my next question would be, what is the key thing about boat racing between you and your partner?
Communication. Communication is the number one thing. The other number one thing is trust. He has to have trust in myself. I have to have trust in him. It's just like a cruiser car. I'm running the throttle and there's no brakes. I'm running the
Yeah.
throttle and the trim. He's running the steering wheel, keeping track of the laps, keeping track of our surroundings. It's way harder than what most people would think. You know, you know, we're sometimes running on a flat race course that's like the lake. You know, it's very smooth. The ocean races, you could be running between 6 and 8 foot waves. You know, so you all have to be in communication with your spotters. You know, your guys on the beach, the guys on the mule, the guys that are in boats maybe that catch a lift out on the course, or somebody that's on one of your spotters that's on a motel room. We all work as a team, and their input is huge also.
So what type of, last question and then we'll wrap up here, but what type of communication what type of communication do the spotters give you? Like clear high, clear low?
So absolutely, it's same as what you and I are used to from the cars. You know, clear high, clear low. You know, you'll have somebody on the inside, somebody on the outside. You're clear, like coming into a pin where we turn. In the dirt cars, we call it a turn. We call it usually a pin. There'll be floating pins out there, buoys per se. That's where we turn. So they'll say you'll have a boat on your left, you know, a half a second behind you, 5 seconds behind you, whatever the case might be. If somebody gets, for instance, in the dirt car race late in the race, you'll have somebody that started towards the back. They got a real good run. They're coming. They'll say, hey, don't conserve. You have, for instance, Performance Boat Center or CR Racing. They're really fast. They're coming. They're counting, so they're catching you, so that you don't go on an idle coast at all. You know. So that's kind of basically what our spotters tell you.
How many laps is the average race?
Usually 40 miles, and usually 10 to 12 laps area is what it is. So it's a long, it sounds like it's quick, but it's a long race. And in a rough water race, it beats you up.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for your time today, Billy.
Thank you. Very nice to see you again. So.
Very nice to see you. So moving forward, Full Throttle will be back with interviews, probably on Fridays mostly. And thank you for joining us for this phone edition of Full Throttle. And we will be back with Billy. Oh, Billy, what were you saying? Maybe 2 months?
Yeah, that'd be great. When I get that boat back, we'll get you over here and get a look at it.
We'll be back with the boat. So until then, I see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.